I got you into a Remington party. What's my thanks? It's on the hallway carpet. I got paid in puke. Lick it up, baby. I got paid in puke.
Welcome to Paid in Puke, a podcast where three women with names discuss movies about something other than a man. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. It's also a spoiler-filled free-for-all. You've been warned. On today's episode of Paid in Puke, we're talking about Adrienne Lynne's 1987 thriller Fatal Attraction, starring Glenn Close and Anne Archer, and I guess a little bit Michael Douglas. I know this is not exactly like a female-driven film, but we do see a lot of Alex by herself.
Yeah, I feel like it counts.
Yeah, we're making it count because we really want to talk about this movie. But anyways, Fatal Attraction tells the story of a man, barf, named Dan, who has one night stand. Wow.
You're getting paid in puke, Dan.
The story of a man named Dan who has a one night stand with an editor named Alex, who he meets through work. But afterwards, she wants to keep seeing him, and he finds that soup's inconvenient. And things escalate from there.
A look that led to an evening.
We were attracted to each other at the party. That was obvious. You're on your own for the night. That's also obvious.
A mistake he'd regret all his life.
Where's your wife?
Hey, honey. Oh, got it.
And you're here with a strange girl, being a naughty boy.
I don't think having dinner with anybody's a crime.
I've got to see you.
This is gonna stop.
No, it's not going to stop. It's going to go on and on.
She keeps calling me apart.
Hello?
Every time Beth answers the phone, she hangs it. I'm scared, Jimmy.
You play fair with me? Do you have an affair with her? I'll play fair with you.
I don't want to lose my family.
How could you do that?
So you're scared of me, aren't you? You're afraid. Gutless, heartless, spineless.
If you ever come near my family again, I'll kill you. You understand? Daddy! I'm not going to be ignored. Alicia, where's Ellen?
She's gone.
Call the police.
Whatever resentment she's feeling, she's probably got it out of her system.
What if she didn't get it out of her system? What then?
Fatal Attraction.
I guess you thought you'd get away with it. Well, you can't.
This was written by James Dearden, based on his own short film called Diversion. I feel like in '87 they weren't really turning short films into features that much, but there's a lot of interesting stuff behind the scenes on this. This was a huge, huge hit. Yeah. This movie made $320 million at the box office. It was number one for 8 weeks. That's a huge deal in 1987. Yeah. The other interesting thing about when they were casting this movie, besides they considered pretty much every actress in Hollywood for the part, was that they didn't want to cast Glenn Close because they couldn't imagine her being sexy enough.
I mean, fair. I don't think she's especially hot or anything, you know.
I don't know.
I think there's kind of a question mark, Glenn Close sex pot. I feel like that was a valid concern. I mean, I feel like she does a good job in this, but I don't think she's especially, like, great-looking, sexy woman.
Yeah, I had read something similar, like, she wanted to have, like, a sexy role.
She really wanted
like,
this part.
She really wanted it. I don't know what she had done before then. I think it was, like, The Big Chill.
Well, was this after Dangerous Liaison?
No, she got Dangerous Liaisons
Yeah.
after that, which is also, like, another sexy... I have some issues with the movie, but, like...
Some issues.
I have a lot of issues with the movie, but she did the old noir femme fatale. Her character is very alluring to him, and I guess that's what they call, like, fatal attraction, is, like, whatever draws you to someone also becomes your downfall or something.
Is it a clinical term or something?
That is a term. In the noir, like, femme fatale world, that's kind of what happens. These alluring, beautiful, mysterious women become the man's downfall.
Who else did they consider for this?
Well, there was like this huge long list on IMDb that's people they considered, but people who actually auditioned were Sharon Stone, Elizabeth Shue, who seems way too young, Gilda Radner
What?
and Emma Thompson.
Wow.
Yeah. So they were kind of like, they didn't have any idea what they were looking for. It seems like they were just like, whatever, let's see every woman in Hollywood and make a decision. And she wore her hair like wild, as she put it. She just let her hair go crazy curly. And that was what made them see her as this role, which is weird, but... Yeah, that's so you could tell a woman's crazy.
Oh my god.
And then the other thing is that she really liked the script because originally in the script, her character kills herself at the end and then frames Dan for the murder. And that's the movie she signed on to make. And then they changed the ending after a test screening.
Oh, yeah.
And she didn't want to come back. She was like, I do not want to reshoot this. And Ann Archer didn't want to reshoot it either. She was like, this totally fucks up the movie, basically. They both were like really upset about it and didn't want to, but they had to because of their contract.
That sucks.
But they fought it for a couple of weeks. And then Michael Douglas was like, I love this. This is so fun.
Yeah.
I love this ending.
So bad.
It's terrible.
It's like the wife wins or whatever.
It's like they killed that crazy bitch. Now back to normal.
And everything's fine. Exactly.
I can't.
Wave to the cops.
Oh, I
Drive
know.
away.
Yeah, like he shakes the cop's hand and then the wife embraces him like, oh my god, the nightmare is over.
Yes. This is not a problem you made for us in any way. I'm so...
Bitches be tripping, man.
Yeah.
Right? No fury like a woman scorned.
Right? Oh my god. There's so many ways in which he is the clear, straight up villain of this movie. Even though it's through his perspective, which I kind of like in a way. It's just so obvious through this modern lens. But at the time, it was like, look at this hero protecting his family.
He just
and
made one little mistake.
One little mistake.
Wreck his whole life. I've never heard anything like that before.
Right.
You know?
He's just made a mistake and this woman's trying to ruin his life.
Right.
And like
it was definitely like
it was
this
like you're
bitch is crazy.
Right, exactly. He does all these fucked up things.
Yes. He breaks into her house.
Right.
She says she's pregnant. You're gonna have to deal with that, like, legally. He's just like this golden guy who's about to make partner at the law firm.
Yeah.
Like, he's moving to the country with
He
his
has
wife
so
and
much
dog.
promise.
He has so much going
He has
for
so much
him.
life ahead of him. Do you
Right.
want to ruin this
One
man's
guy
life?
wanted to have some hot sex with a stranger.
He just wanted to fuck you a bunch of times, and we talked about this. We agreed. No, they never agreed on shit.
Right.
Their conversation was, do you want to fuck right now? We're two adults, let's go fuck. And that was the end of it. It wasn't like, and after that we'll never see each other again and I won't bother you and I'll let you get on with your life. That shit was never said, but he's acting like, we talked about this. We had an understanding.
The one thing I could say is he didn't like pretend he wasn't married, you know.
Yeah,
like,
he talks
so-
about it a lot.
I mean, he made a lot of assumptions, something he thought was implied, like that this is just a weekend fling because I'm married, but he didn't say that. Her expectations are not super reasonable sometimes, but he told her he was married. That's really all he said. You know?
Yeah.
He didn't talk about anything else that he seems to think they talked about.
And it is established that she has a mental illness. Glenn Close took the script to psychiatrists, several different psychiatrists, to check out the validity of it. And they all said, like, this is theoretically a way a person with borderline personality disorder who had a history of molestation, sexual abuse would behave. Mm-hmm. Including the bunny boiling. Like, she was like, the bunny boiling seems a little too far. Would that really, really happen? And they said, well, if she was molested by a family member as a child, that's a way that manifests in adults sometimes. Like, she fixates on the rabbit after she sees Dan giving the rabbit to a little girl.
Right, and
then she throws up.
in the bushes.
Yeah.
I thought it was like, oh, she's pregnant. She's morning sickness. But yeah, I read another thing that was like, that could be like a
trigger.
A trigger of something. She's definitely got mental illness. I think the movie just doesn't really, I don't know, or maybe that was just the time, but it was just like this person's crazy and we gotta get rid of the crazy person.
Well, they absolutely 100% stigmatized and made light of mental illnesses in the 80s. That was just like a very prevalent theme in the 80s movies, especially with women. I think this kind of started it for women specifically, like the crazy woman scorned thing. But yeah, there were all kinds of comedies that took place in mental hospitals, like that kind of thing. I mean, they did it for a long time too. Like, I still remember Girl Interrupted. That is such a problematic portrayal of mental illness.
There's this movie I had on, I don't know why I had it on VHS. I think it was called Crazy People, but it was like a...
Oh.
Yeah.
That's when you were talking about
a Dudley Moore movie.
Yep. I was
where,
just talking about that because it was on Comedy Central all the time.
I watched that so many times.
Yeah.
The people that are in the mental hospital or whatever, they start making advertising campaigns. Or...
Truth in advertising.
Right, yeah. That was so prevalent.
It really was.
Shut up. Hot Probs is on.
Oh shit, yeah.
Hot probs. I mean, obviously, besides, like, the entire thing. There are some specific ones. It starts for me with, oh no, his wife won't fuck him one time. He better go have an affair. Because that's very clearly, like, that scene right before they go out of town. And it's like, I'm going out of town tomorrow with our daughter. You're not coming with us. I'm tired. Like, I just don't want to fuck tonight. And he kind of, like, looks at her and, like, she's brought their kid, Ellen, into the bed. And he's just like, oh, God. Yeah, I mean, kid cock blocking is like a marital issue, but you know, that doesn't mean you can't fuck another time. Like, just get over it.
I felt like they were showing these moments of him being a husband and a father, and it was an inconvenience to him. Like, he's like fumbling, like trying to get the dog and the kid in the car. And
like it's such a drag.
Like,
I know.
such a drag having to be this, you know, no wonder he's bored. Or,
Having to do
like,
anything. I know.
He's the provider, he works, like he's giving her so much, and it's like, gosh.
I know.
The least she could do is fuck him.
His wife is like amazing.
Yeah,
like,
she's a babe, right?
yeah, and seems like a cool person, and I just...
She seems cool.
Her name is Beth, by the way. I want to refer to her by her name. She does seem really cool. And there's like that another hot prob of mine. But I kind of like it from this lens of like, we're watching this movie with this very flawed, this like antagonist, basically. Yeah. He's the villain. We're seeing this movie through his eyes. He's like looking at his wife while she's at the dressing table. And the way it's shot is so male-gazy. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Right. She's like in her underpants. And like...
Yeah.
Yeah.
If I were to teach a class on the male gaze, I would 100% show that scene.
And then there's like another scene where he's trying to get rid of Alex and like thinks he's gotten rid of her, and like he's looking at his wife and his kid. He's like so thankful he's like back with his...
Yeah, we're supposed to see that as like a
and
redemptive moment, like, oh, he did just make this one mistake, but he's really a good guy who loves his family and still wants to fuck his wife.
Exactly.
Oh my God. I hate Dan so much.
He thinks that he can just have it.
You can't have it all, Dan. Why do you think you can have it all?
Yeah.
Ugh, there's consequences to my actions.
What if I said I was sorry?
And he's like talking.
I apologized. I think it's very significant that he says, I apologized. I kind of feel like there's a huge difference between saying I apologize and I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I apologize is like, there, I did it.
It's like I acknowledge it.
Yeah. Very well.
Yeah. And then at one point he says, I apologize if you got the wrong idea. Don't get me started on the apologize if thing.
Non-apology. Right. And he has like this sidekick best friend.
Oh yeah.
Lawyer guy. I feel like I know him from other stuff from the 80s. But
Yeah.
There's like in a bunch of stuff in the 80s.
Place him. Yeah.
I think he's also has basically the same role in Hand That Rocks the Cradle.
Yes.
And then I think he was on, not necessarily the news, like some sketch. He was like sort of a known person for a while.
Oh.
I want to say maybe he was on like a Gary Shandling thing. Not the Larry Sanders Show, but something. He was just in a bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Stuart Pankin. Pankin? Pankin?
Pankin.
Pankin. Yes.
That scene where they're in the law library and like he's like confiding like, what can I do? How can I get out of this? And his friend's like, oh, I don't know. This isn't good.
Yeah, he does not give him any helpful
He
advice
wants
at
to hear
all.
from his friend that he has no responsibility.
Oh, I know. He really does. He's like, be on my side here.
You're a lawyer. You should know this.
Right.
Like,
Maybe he wasn't in Hand That Rocks.
that's another, like,
or something like
stalker
that.
movie.
That's another Bitches Be Crazy movie.
Yeah, this one started other movies like that.
It absolutely did, yeah.
Movies.
Yes.
Single white female.
Basic Instinct.
Yeah, Basic Instinct.
Yeah.
Disclosure.
Yeah.
That movie was so bad.
That's not a good movie, yeah.
Oh, he was on one episode of The Golden Girls. He played a character named Jacques de Corville.
He's just like, was in a bunch
He was in a
He
bunch of
wasn't in
stuff.
Hand That Rocks a Cradle,
Okay.
But I was right, the sketch comedy show was not necessarily the news.
Okay. And Gary Shandling, yeah, you're right.
Oh, well, okay.
And Night Court. 3 episodes of Night Court. Mannequin on the Move. Ooh.
Oh, Mannequin.
Mannequin 2 on the Move. Another hot prop I have is just that, like, the cop is one of my favorite characters.
I know, like the cop is at the moral center of the movie somehow.
Oh my god, I love that cop so much. He's like, it sounds like you made a bed and you need to let her to your friend. Because he's like, I have this friend who blah, blah, blah. Like, yeah, really? Oh, well, it sounds like your friend needs to fucking suck it up.
Right, yeah.
My client wants it stopped. He just wants an end to the harassment.
He's positive it was this woman who trashed the car.
Yes, yes, of course.
Any witnesses?
No.
Welcome to file a complaint and make me feel better. I mean, it's not a lot you can do without proof.
Look, Lieutenant, this woman is completely irrational. There's no telling what she could do.
You can't go around arresting people for what they might do. You know that.
I'm not asking you to arrest her. He simply... He wants her warned. But what if she didn't get it out of her system? What then?
You have to catch her in the act. Then we can bring charges.
Well, you say he just has to sit there and take it?
It's his bet. I'm afraid he's gonna have to lie in it.
I hated that he was a prankster. The pretending he was dead.
Goofy thing
I
to
was
do.
just like, come on, you know.
It's
and
so
then,
strange.
But then it was kind of funny how she sort of like flipped it back on him and was like, my dad died.
That's
But
real.
It was real. Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. That was crazy.
Jen, can you hear me? Oh my god.
You bastard.
Your face.
That was a shitty thing to do.
I'm sorry. I was just fooling around.
My father died of a heart attack. I was 7 years old. It happened right in front of me.
Oh, honey, I'm sorry. Really, I had no idea. If I did, I never would have done anything like that. Wait, he didn't die? He's alive?
Yeah, he's alive and well and living in Phoenix.
I guess you certainly got me, didn't you?
It's like somehow evidence to him, like, man, this girl is crazy.
Yeah.
She said he was still alive. You know?
Because I felt awkward after she said my dad died that way, and then she said just kidding, and it was like our first date or whatever.
I know.
She did like the normal civil thing of like, oh, I guess we don't want to get heavy, but then, ugh, no, but she was lying about her past.
Right. I mean, a big hot problem is just like Michael Douglas is so gross and unappealing.
He really
Why
is.
was he in everything?
How is he a sex symbol? He's just such like a regular dude.
I think maybe that was the appeal. Like, he's like, maybe like,
The
he's
everyman.
like the everyman.
I mean, I think people thought
this
that
could
he was
happen to
sexy.
any of us. You know?
I mean, I
like,
feel like in Basic Instinct, he's supposed to legit be sexy and hot.
And then like Romancing the Stone, they were trying to do like a Harrison Ford Indiana Jones thing with him, and they made 2 of those.
oh, yeah.
Like they were really going hard on the Michael Douglas
all in
sex
on
symbol
Michael
thing,
Douglas,
and
yeah.
it never worked. Never, I don't think, for me.
He just became like the resident male lead for
Yeah,
all these big
weird.
budget movies.
So strange.
Yeah.
He's not even that good of an actor.
I don't think so.
He's very one note.
I like the Wonder Boys. Like, that's the one movie I really love. Like, I like him in that. But yeah, he's kind of the same in everything.
See what else? Other hot props. Oh, some clothes. Shoulder pads.
Yeah.
Such a hot prop.
Very 80s. The big blazer shoulder pad.
This dress shirt under the sweater with the rolled up sleeves.
You notice how when the movie opens, everybody is wearing all white. And then, like, later in the movie, people are either wearing all white or all black.
I mean, I noticed that about her, that Alex is either, like, all white or all black.
And her apartment is all white. It's very stark white everywhere. It's just, like, really hard to get everything white like that.
Because it seemed like everyone in the first scene was wearing all white.
What are they saying about that?
even
Like,
the
this is a black and white issue?
Black and white.
Yeah, I know.
There is no gray in this.
Oh my god. Oh, his hair, he has like zero hair continuity. That's another hot prop for me. Like, every scene his hair is just different. And what a dumb haircut. The Michael Douglas haircut. Why was that a thing?
Right.
The like middle part that's kind of feathered.
Sorta, yeah.
Never the same. The way to do that hair is you take a shower, you part your hair in the middle, hairspray, comb it back, wet, and then go to sleep. And then when you wake up in the morning, it's perfect. That's what you want.
I have a hot problem with the scene where Alex just, like, picks the kid up from school. Like, that makes no sense.
It doesn't make any sense because she doesn't even do anything. She just has a date with her and then brings her home
that part,
that's it.
I mean, I think that makes a little sense if she's just, like, kind of fucking with them. Like, she knows she's not going to harm her, but it's like, this is going to scare the fuck out of them. Like, it's more of the, I'm not going to be ignored, you know? But the whole thing, like, the mom comes together and they're like, oh, I thought you already came.
Yeah, it's so weird. They keep saying, like, I thought you picked her up already.
Right.
Like, why did you think I picked her
up?
up?
They need to show that scene. What on earth happened? Because why the kid went with her, she doesn't know her at all.
Hi, Mrs. Gallagher. Did you forget something?
Came to get Ellen.
Ellen? Well, I thought you picked her up already.
Well, I'm sure she's left already.
Betty? Is Ellen in here with you? She's gone home already. Are you sure? I'm positive. She's not inside and she's not in the playground. I thought you picked her up. You did pick her up. Now, don't worry. She can't have gone far. You don't understand. I'll check her locker.
Alicia, where's Ellen?
She's gone.
Call the police.
I mean, at least throw in something where she's like, oh, hi, do you remember me on your Aunt Alex? Like, your mom is at a doctor's appointment. You know, something like, you know, and then it's like Beth goes and asks some kid.
Alicia, I think
Alicia,
is her.
yeah.
Alicia. And Alicia does this amazing hair flip and makes the most of her 30 seconds on screen. I love Alicia.
Like, nothing makes any sense in that scene.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
We just sent your kid off with some random woman we've never seen before, and I guess thought it was you.
Yes, at least 3 people specifically say you already picked her up.
Right.
Which is like, no.
Makes no sense.
Oh my god. Yeah, that's really weird.
The part where Dan is saying, like, I gotta go home, I gotta go back to my family, I don't think we can see each other again, and then she gets really upset, and then he's about to leave, and she's like, oh, I wanna make up with you or something, sorry. And, you know, they start making out, and, like, you see all the blood.
Yeah, she's cut her
and, like,
wrist behind her back.
Her wrist. He, like, bandages her up and, like, puts her to bed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, no big deal, like, you're all fine now, go to bed. It's like, dude, this woman is not fine.
Yeah.
It's like,
he wants to do the least amount possible because if he does anything more than that, like if he called somebody, then he'd get busted.
Right.
It's all about like, what can I do to just make this problem go away as fast as possible?
Right, yeah.
Now that it's a problem.
In the end, too, I thought he goes past the point of self-defense. I think that he...
Yes!
He tries to strangle her before in her apartment, and you can really see it in his face, like, I want this bitch dead, you know?
And then he, like, purposely leaves a knife out for her after she's already tried to kill herself.
Oh, God. Wow. Yeah, I missed that part.
He is so horrible.
But, like, you see him, like, really drowning her in the tub, and you can see in his face how much he wants her dead.
I do like appreciate that POV shot, even though it's like the fucking worst ending. Like that POV shot of her drowning with his angry face in the tub. I feel like at least at that one moment, it's like garnering sympathy for her at least a little bit. Like she doesn't deserve this. This is overboard. Come on, guys.
Turn it down a notch. Just a couple notches.
Reminds me of that other movie, Places in the Sun. Montgomery clip, like...
Oh, A Place in the Sun.
Or A Place in the Sun. He has an affair with... I forget what her name is, but... Anyways, like, she's pregnant. They go on a boat trip, and she drowns. And, like, it's like, oh, he gets to be with Elizabeth Taylor.
Oh, God.
But the whole movie is told from this point of, like, oh, this guy just made a bad choice. You know, it's like the audience is supposed to be rooting for this guy.
I'm old enough. I saw this in the theater. When Beth says on the phone, you come near my family again, I'll kill you, people fucking cheered.
This is Beth Gallagher. If you ever come near my family again, I'll kill you. You understand?
And people cheered when she shoots her at the end.
And he already threatened her, too. That's like the second time someone in that family has said, I will kill you. Which is like, why does it have to go there so fast?
Right, well, also, he says, if you tell my wife, I'll kill you. It's like, well, that's not going to help. Like, if your wife knows and then you kill her.
Well, apparently that is fine. Yeah.
I guess he was right. That then everything will be fine. You tell my wife, you're dead.
Can you imagine?
Everything's fine.
My husband told me he had an affair, but then it's all fine because he murdered her. So we're all good.
Beth, do you have any friends that you're going to tell the story to? And then maybe when you talk it out, you're going to hear it, you know? Like, so you had an affair with this woman, and then, okay, fair, she did wreak some havoc on the family, and including killing their family pet. In this
that was bad.
Way
yeah.
That you had to find. But, you know, then she came over, and I ended up killing her. So then we were all good.
And everything was fine. Right. It's been ever since
God.
then.
And I just waved to the cops as they drive away. Like, that is, I hate the most about the ending, that it's like, Beth, come on.
The family unit remains intact.
Right.
And Beth is like the good, nice, kind
wife. Right kind of woman.
You know, she's a great mom, and Alex is a career woman.
Yes. Oh, she has a job, and she smokes, and she doesn't have any children, and she's not married. She's 36.
36. Last chance.
She goes out dancing in the middle of the night.
She goes to like a spicy club full of brown people to go dancing. Ooh. And she lives in an industrial neighborhood, not in like a nice place.
Yeah.
I just remember seeing these movies when I was a kid with New York in the backdrop, and it was just like, people do stuff and like go dancing in the middle of the night. I don't know. I was just always so intrigued with like New York. Wow, adults do things. I don't know.
Yeah, they party.
It's a totally different world from like where I grew up. She's this wild woman or whatever.
She cray.
She's great in the sack, but then beyond that, you don't want anything to do with it.
That's another hot prob. The sex scene in the kitchen, because honestly, like, and I have started to write it down, because I do like, and that's something I sort of respect about Adrienne Lynne. Like, I like when there's sex in movies. I like when sex seems hot. Like, I like when people are horny in movies. And I feel like that scene is good, and then all of a sudden it's like, let me wet you down with some tap water. Like, what?
Yeah, that was weird.
I mean, I feel like he wanted to have that just be a theme, like the water, scary water, or sexy water.
Right. There's a lot of water motif, and then eventually, like, when she's drowned, or he's drowning her.
That's not a thing where you're just fucking in the kitchen, like, let me wet you down, let me get some tap water on you.
And then they leave the sink on, which kills me. People who are careless with water, like with running water in movies, drives me insane. I like a passionate sex scene, but then it always goes a little too far beyond the realm of realism and believability in movies. It's like, that wouldn't even be comfortable. Like, what's wrong with a bed? A bed is a perfectly great place. I've read something with Adrienne Lynne being like, sex in bed is so boring. You're doing it wrong, I think, then.
Maybe he thinks it means like it's boring to shoot.
Oh, here it is. He says, he didn't want the love scene to take place in a bed because it's so dreary. And I thought about the sink because I remembered I once had sex with a girl over a sink way back. The plates clink around, I think so. Well, he is in my mind. And you'll have a laugh. Yes, he must be. Listen to the way he says things. You always need to have a laugh in a sex scene.
Listen to the way he says it. This is you talking.
I'm doing a flawless Adrienne Lynne impression, though.
He is English. Fuck you, man. That was so bad. He is, yeah.
I
He's from
like
Peterborough, United Kingdom.
It seems like also there's like a weird like that subtext. Oh, the exciting woman.
Yeah,
I can have
I think
exciting
it's that,
sex with.
for sure.
And then there's my wife.
But
Just
it's
that
definitely a
trope
thing
of,
in movies of like you have the nice vanilla sex with the nice lady, you know?
Yeah.
Stands out for me the most. I don't know why this is my go-to example, but in Jerry Maguire, he has like super hot sex with Kelly Preston. And then he has nice vanilla missionary with Renee Zellweger.
Right, yeah.
That movie is such garbage.
It is, yeah.
But you have to beware because women who are wild in the sack are crazy otherwise.
I really like that movie, The Long Shot. I do really like there's a sex
yeah.
scene in that where she's like, can you choke me a little bit and smack, you know, like she's just totally like, this is just what I like, you know.
Yeah.
I really like that.
I thought the movie was pretty entertaining, actually. I liked it way better than I thought I would.
I was gonna like it. You know, it's Charlize Theron and Seth Rogen.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I guess I just super like both of them, so.
She's the president.
Yeah,
she's
like
running for president,
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, I saw that. I was surprised at how much I like.
And they, like, knew each other in high school or something.
Yeah, something like that.
But yeah, and I like that, I don't know, I like that pairing. He's really... I
him.
love Seth Rogen, I do.
He's got a lot of depth that I wasn't privy to from his
like
earlier stuff.
He does.
Yeah. His wife's mom has Alzheimer's and like he started Hilarity for Charity like, thing where he does these comedy shows.
That's awesome.
Alzheimer's is
expensive.
Very expensive.
Yeah.
Sherry Lansing found this story. She's kind of like this Paramount powerhouse producer that comes up with the indecent proposal. Like all these like sensational like sex.
Yeah.
Fraught with tension movies.
Freaky white people.
Right, exactly.
Having like scary sex.
Yeah. It's interesting, and like I was reading some article about this was at a time when like the stock market crashed that year, and like it was kind of like the beginning of the end of like the yuppiedom. I just thought it was interesting to think about what was going on in the world at that time.
Yeah. Like, well, also I remember like around that time another movie with hot sex scene was No Way Out.
Kevin Costner.
Costner and Sean Young. It like opens, I think, with them like fucking in the back of a limo. It's like really hot, and then after they're done, they introduce themselves. You know?
Nice.
A thing I remember about that movie that has to do with like the time of it is that movie was delayed about a year before it came out because Kevin Costner was not known at all, but The Untouchables was coming out, and they knew that was going to make him a big deal, so they released it after that. I remember them saying like you can sort of tell because it's right when like the AIDS epidemic happened, and it's like you wouldn't have a scene like that.
Right.
To total strangers fucking.
Right, yeah, that's...
Because that, like, just gonna change sex in movies. There's, like, a lot of unprotected sex in movies all the time.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Oh, my God. I can't even think of a movie like that where they show someone putting a condom on.
I mean, I feel like it definitely happens, but I feel like more often movies make you think, like, yeah, that's not a thing.
Well, it's a fantasy, I guess.
Right.
Anyway, they're straight, so...
Right.
Let's see, what else? Probably, besides, there's just so many hot prods.
Yeah, like the whole thing, the ending, the premise.
It's just referenced in a lot of movies, too. Like, I remember, like, in Sleepless in Seattle, Tom Hanks was like,
right.
Did you see Fatal Attraction? It scared every man in America. Bridget Jones.
It scared every man in America.
That's what he said.
I know, but that's such a fucking problematic thing to say.
The problematic legacy of this movie is that, like, the trope is, like, the scary woman scored. Statistically, who is a woman most likely to be murdered by? You know?
And she is murdered.
You know? Right, that's true. I mean, that's the thing. You know,
how is it a cautionary tale when she's the one who ends up dead at the end? It's so wrong. They're looking at it so wrong.
Right.
There's so many other little, like, this woman is crazy shorthands. Like, she's doodling at one point. And it's like, oh my God, she doodles. Crazy. And then when she's sad and she's sitting on the bed crying and eating like ice cream, chips, white wine, the whole thing.
Like, she's turning off that lamp. She's crazy.
Yeah.
Just playing with the lamp.
Yeah. And listening to La Boheme. And then, of course, like, that's such a problematic opera that everyone thinks that's so romantic.
Right.
Ugh, fuck that
that's
opera.
like the thing about Sleepless in Seattle is that's such a fucked up movie, you know? Like, she's fully
she's a
stalking him.
Yeah.
Like, the irony that he's like, you know.
Yeah. She's stalking him like almost more than Alex stalks.
I mean, she goes across the country for him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but she's
right.
She's just such an adorable stalker.
Right.
She's the right kind of stalker.
She just does a
I
cartwheel
know, it's
into
like
your heart.
doesn't she like also like she has a boyfriend, but like he like has allergies or something.
Yes, he has allergies.
He blows his nose too much.
Yes.
Man.
Yeah.
I feel like this movie is a slap in the face to you specifically.
Kind of, yeah. Also, it's really funny that, like, she has curly blonde hair also, but it's, like, tamed curly blonde hair. Like, what a problematic, fun double feature that would be. This is the right way to be a crazy lady.
Right. I did not. That's amazing. That's the mirror.
My one Alex problem is then when she goes a little too far and she calls Dan the F word and
Yeah.
I bet you don't even like girls. Like, come on, that's not what's going on here.
Come on, Alex. You're canceled.
Next call.
That tape that she makes is, I don't know.
I do like how there's so much foreshadowing. We watched it with Logan, and Logan went in totally blind. We decided to watch it, and when I just went downstairs, I was like, "You want to come watch Fatal Attraction with us?" Yeah. Had no idea what this movie was going to be, knew nothing about it. I think they were like, I may have heard that.
They said I've heard that before, yeah.
And, oh boy, they were so worried about the bunny.
It was
really good foreshadowing.
I was like, how much does Logan care about the bunny?
We're like, don't get too
really?
attached to this bunny.
I really hope nothing happens to that bunny. And then we were just like crickets, and they were like, wait a second, the bunny's not going to be okay.
But it's funny, like, how much, like, there is, like, spaghetti making or boiling water, or when she says, I love animals, I'm a great cook.
Yes, like, literally in the same breath.
Oh, Alex, but I got so much work to do today. I can't.
Why don't you just come over? I'll cook us lunch.
I gotta take the dog for a walk. The poor dog has not been out of this house all day. I gotta think about it.
Well, bring the dog. I love animals. I'm a great cook. Come on.
Well, he does say, like, I'm gonna bring my dog and I'm hungry or something like that. It was like, it's in response to that, but it's really, obviously foreshadowing.
It is something that pays off, like, the second time you see it.
Yeah.
I've already started underlining meaningful passages in her copy of Moby Dick, if you know what I mean.
That was one, because that's so fun. I really love when Ellen, we haven't even talked about Ellen, who's great. I love that little girl. She's terrific.
I thought you meant Ellen Foley for a second.
No, I do love Ellen Foley. Okay, so Ellen Foley is his best friend's
Stuart Pinkett's
wife.
I guess.
She's very familiar too.
Oh yeah, she was in the first season of Night Court.
Well, I know her as the woman who sings like all the lady parts on Meatloaf songs. I'm a big fan of Bat Out of Hell, and she's on it a lot, and she's got an amazing voice. I have this like Bat Out of Hell live concert that she's in. She's just like running circles around Meatloaf. She's really great. She's an amazing singer. Yeah. Anyway, I like when little girl Ellen says, she's like walking down the hall after Dan says shit. She's like, shit, 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 shit. Little kids swearing is pretty cute and funny. He says something about like when they're having their sexy lunch, he's like, 2 adults getting together isn't a crime or something like that. And then she says, not yet.
And you're here with a strange girl being a naughty boy?
I don't think having dinner with anybody's a crime.
Not yet.
I don't know. I thought that was like kind of cute. And then she also says like, I haven't made up my mind yet about whether we're fucking or not, which I really like.
I love that. I like that they're...
Will it be?
I don't know. What do you think?
I actually think it's going to be up to you.
Can't say yet. I haven't made up my mind.
You just have to be discreet. And she's like, are you?
Are you discreet?
Yeah, I love that exchange. And then also, like a couple moments later where he's talking about his family and his wife, and he's like, I'm very lucky. And she's like, well, what are you doing here then?
How long have you been married?
9 years.
You have any kids?
Mm-hmm. Got a 6-year-old girl.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm lucky.
So what are you doing here?
That comes up more than once, and I was like, yeah, what are you doing there?
Can't you understand? I have a whole relationship with someone else. I am very happy.
Whole means complete. If your life's so damn complete, what were you doing with me?
Right. And
Yeah.
that doesn't good question, you know?
It really is.
I feel like the movie just wants you to accept that, like, yeah, happily married men have affairs, and that...
And we shouldn't hold it against them.
Right. And it doesn't mean that they're not happily married or, you know.
And it doesn't mean that they're not a good husband or father.
Yeah.
Well, the way that the affair kind of like kicks off, it's almost like, you know, like he's fumbling outside on the street with his umbrella. And he's just like a hapless dude. And she comes up to him and then they end up running in the rain and she grabs his hand and it's like, oh, he's really being like sucked into this...
Yeah.
Whatever's gonna happen.
Yeah. And she kind of comes on to him at that party where they meet for the first time. He's at that party with his wife when he's at the bar or something. I think she comes up to him and starts flirting with him, and then he says immediately that he's married, and then she kind of backs off. But then, like, he's the one who asks her out to lunch.
Yeah.
When he sees her again at work. They're having, like, a Saturday meeting or something. That's why he can't go to the country with his family.
Right.
And, like, she tries to convince him, but he, like, is very easily convinced.
Oh,
so
he doesn't take care of the dog. That was like,
I know.
Like, his wife even has to get him to, like, take the dog out in another scene.
The last thing she says to him before she leaves is like, don't forget to walk the dog. And he's like, okay, I'll just leave the dog alone for 24 hours.
It's like, wow, he doesn't do anything.
It's also pretty
at
fun.
home.
He doesn't do anything.
He doesn't do anything at home, which is why, like, he has to mess up the bed so it looks like he's been there, because it's like, oh, he wouldn't have ever...
It would never be believable that he made the bed.
If the bed is made, then you know he didn't sleep there. Like, that's pretty telling.
Yeah. It really is.
I like when she says, like, you thought you could just walk into my life and turn it upside down without a thought for anyone but yourself.
You know, another thing is that you thought that you could just walk into my life and turn it upside down without a thought for anyone but yourself.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she also says, you've had your fun and now you just want a quiet life.
It's over. There is nothing between us.
You mean you've had your fun, now you just want a quiet life?
Which is so fucking true. Like, she calls it out so many times and she's so right. And I really love the movie in those moments. And then...
Yeah. And also, like, I'm not going to be ignored. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, that's... I love that line.
I just want to be a part of your life.
Oh, this is the way you do it, huh? Showing up at my apartment?
What am I supposed to do? You won't answer my calls, you change your number. I mean, I'm not going to be ignored, Dan.
Yeah, I really would love a very different version of this movie where it's all her point of view and and then the original ending, maybe, or even like...
And also Beth leaves him.
Yes, or something. Something different than what happened.
I like, if you told me to fuck off, I'd have more respect for you.
Yes!
Yeah.
Look, Alex, I like you. And if I wasn't with somebody else, then maybe I'd be with you. But I am.
Please don't justify yourself as pathetic. If you tell me to fuck off, I'd have more respect for you.
All right, then fuck off.
And you get out! And they're talking about Madame Butterfly, which I've never seen that. I know it's, like, problematic, but, like, there was a,
Oh, it's Madame Butterfly, not Loud Boy, I'm sorry. Well, it's very similar, though, isn't it?
He's talking about seeing it with his dad. It's just, like, one of those stories where it's one of the only times my father was ever nice to me, comforting me about Madame Butterfly.
It's my favorite opera.
Mine too. It's the first opera I ever saw. My father, he took me to the old Met. I was 5 years old.
Did it make any sense?
Well, I got most of it. There was this U.S. sailor setting up house with this Japanese lady. In the final act, after he left her, my father told me she's gonna kill herself. And I was terrified. I climbed right underneath the chair. It's right here. It was one of the only times I remember my father being nice to me when I was a kid. Comforting me at Madame Butterfly.
I don't know why, that just stuck with me for some reason.
Oh, right. And
Yeah.
isn't that part of why they reference that so much is because the original ending is she kills herself.
That's right. Like, really
Dumb
fucking
test
ruin their
obvious.
movie.
I know.
Why do they do that?
Great.
Ugh. It is like, have you ever been invited to a test audience? Because I haven't. It's like,
Oh, I know. I would love to. I would love that.
When I was in Los Angeles, well, I briefly lived there after college, and I was at the shopping center and they were inviting people to see this movie. You had to fill out this long questionnaire at the end. It was Beyond Borders with Clive Owen and Angelina Jolie. It was just weird. I was just like, data collecting reaction from a movie. It was just so foreign to me. Like the art and commerce thing, it's like people just want to see crazy shit, it seems like.
Yeah, I mean, it really makes me think back to Mulholland Drive. The whole thing about Mulholland Drive, not the whole thing, but like a big part of it is the people with the money making these dumb decisions that compromise the art. Like that's a very real fucking thing. Not that this movie would have been art without, but it would have been like a fuckload better.
Right, I mean, it still was like somebody had a vision.
Yeah. A cohesive vision that was fucked with by people who weren't part of the creative process.
Right.
I also was thinking about Mulholland Drive in regard to, because there's like the femme fatale in Mulholland Drive and the femme fatale here, and how just very different that's shot. Even though they're both movies made by white men, it's like David Lynch is somehow the only one who's able to make it not problematic.
Yeah, David Lynch, he likes women.
I think that's a big fucking part of it, is that he actually, like, respects women and thinks of them as whole people.
This movie was definitely just such a two-dimensional, I don't know. You're either the whore or the Madonna.
Right.
Like,
and you know what? He never fucks his wife in the movie. Like,
and his wife is fucking hot.
Yeah, she is like the Madonna because she had a baby. As far as we know, they've never fucked. Like, it's like, but she's so beautiful. You never even see her naked though. Really, you only see Alex naked.
Oh my god!
Because
and
she's the whore.
So like catering to him, like, oh, you look stressed. Why don't I give you a bath and like a back rub or something? And like,
I know.
Like it's like she's just like this ultimate wife person.
She's his mother as well as
right.
It's so gross. Fuck this movie.
All we want is to be treated like human beings, not to be experimented on like guinea pigs or patronized like bunny rabbits.
I do have a patronizing bunny rabbits about this movie, but it is not Adrienne Lynne. It is, if y'all want to hate Michael Douglas more. He wasn't happy with Ellen's performance during that scene where he is having a fight with Beth about Alex. Ellen, like, wakes up and comes in and she's holding this stuffed unicorn and she's like, stop fighting, blah, blah, blah. And apparently, Michael Douglas didn't think she was sad enough, so he whispered to her, look at this stupid unicorn, I'm gonna throw it in the garbage. And then she starts crying for real, like, her tears in the movie are because he just said that to her.
That's fucked
And then he's like, I felt pretty guilty, but you've got to do what you've got to do.
You don't.
That is fucked
You did not have to do that, dude. Jesus fucking
Christ.
Christ.
Said, hey, can you try to cry a little hard, little girl?
Or just like think about,
But this kid in the movie is really sad.
Think about how what time you were really sad. Like something you would say to an adult about a scene. Like you wouldn't. I mean, I guess he would if it were a woman. He'd be like, you stupid fucking bitch, I'm gonna kill you. Now cry. God, isn't that horrible? She was like 5 years old or something, like so little.
Well, she's either 5 or 6. Remember?
He doesn't know how old she is.
The mom says she's 5. The mom says
she's 5, and I'm sure she is how old Beth says. I loved that detail too. I wrote that down. He doesn't know how old his daughter is. That is so telling.
I think you're forgetting one of your favorite meaningful passages.
Oh yes, no, I'm not forgetting about it. We're talking about other things. My very favorite meaningful passage
Should we act it out?
Yes. Okay. Do you want to be? You be Dan. Okay.
Did the plumber come?
Did he ever?
What did the plumber do?
Hi, honey. How you doing? The plumber come yet?
Oh, did he ever?
Well, I don't really want to know about it. All right.
It's a mess here now.
She got a real kick out of that one. Did he ever?
I think I might say that from now on anytime my husband asks me about a person coming to do work on the house.
The scene where, like, Beth's like, if you ever come near my family, I'll kill you. I was just like, why are you putting your wife on the phone to do this?
Here, speak to my wife.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not married, but if I was married and my husband was like, can you talk to this lady?
Why don't you speak to her?
Why would I want to talk to her?
I think this is a YP, not a YP.
Right! I need you to talk to my mistress for me. She's acting crazy.
Please tell my mistress to fuck off, please.
She is not listening to tonight.
I was just like, that is some big man baby energy.
He was such a man baby.
Oh, I always like it when like there's somebody on the other line and the person just stays on and is like,
Hello? Hello?
Just you, my friend.
Hello? Hello?
Yeah.
so I was like, hello? Hello?
Like, you can tell they hung up.
Hello? And it's like,
I
and
would
then
that,
that,
more
like,
than one hello.
But yeah, remember like where you couldn't block people? Like,
Yeah.
you just had to change your number?
Or take it off the hook, the phone off the hook.
Yeah.
No one can call you, though, yeah.
I
Yeah.
had to change my number one time.
Oh, you
It's
did?
like this guy that I went on a date with, like, I was like 24 and he was 38.
Ew.
And he,
Ew to him, not you.
Yeah, obviously.
yeah, I barely knew him, but he was divorced. Newly divorced or something? I forget. He was like, I want you in my life. Like, he was like talking these future statements about how I'll be involved in his life. That was my one like stalkery moment I had. Like, I ended up having to change my number. I didn't know how to block numbers. I don't know if I could do that back then.
You'd have to call somebody. I think you'd have to call the phone company or the operator or somebody. You could do it, but it wasn't easy. It wasn't like push a button and it's done. Like it is
Right.
now, which is so nice.
That was just made me remember that.
I like her the way that she gets the number back, though.
Yeah.
She seems really interested in
Yeah.
subletting her play, whatever, is like buying the apartment. Because they're moving to the
suburbs.
to the country.
Oh, right.
Upstate New York?
I mean, when
Yeah.
he's that far upstate, because he's still going to work in the city.
Right.
And she's like, well, we might get Ellen a rabbit. And he's like, oh, it's like Noah's Ark in here. And it's
Yes.
like, they literally just have a dog.
They have a dog.
That's not Noah's Ark.
And you know
One
what?
dog.
Don't worry about it, because I'm sure you're not going to have to do shit for that rabbit. Beth will take care of everything.
Ellen, that kid, I think I'm probably like 4 or 5 years older than her. Because she's got the fruit roll up. And
Yes,
like,
she's wrapping her.
rolls it around her finger.
Mhm.
And it's like, whoa. I remember doing that. It's like a weird like flashback. And then like it's funny how he's in the kitchen and like putting a tea on the kettle or whatever, and like he has a fruit. I don't know. He's like he gets a fruit roll.
He
up.
rips
He,
a
like,
fruit
rips
roll
it
up in half. Like, I can only have half a fruit. I don't need all this sugar.
But like, I just remembered that so much.
Oh my god, me
like,
too. Yeah. And then you bite your finger. You're like, look at my weird finger.
No, it's just like.
That's just how you eat them. That's how you have to eat them. Another thing I liked that the cop said was, you can't go around arresting people for something she might do.
Yeah.
I really love that one.
This woman is completely irrational. There's no telling what she could do.
You can't go around arresting people for what they might do. You know that.
I can't believe I like the cop so much in this movie. He was a very reasonable man.
What else does a suicide need, huh? Now, if you'll excuse me.
Fun facts. More than 20 directors passed on directing this movie. I find that fact pretty fun.
That's interesting. Do you have any specific people that passed on it?
No, that was just from IMDb, so it could be also incorrect. Oh, I guess this isn't very fun, but the fact that Glenn Close says that men keep coming up to her and saying that she saved their marriage.
What? It's gross.
Like, that's like the number one thing that people say to her about that movie, or at least they did at the time she was interviewed for that. But, like, how?
Yeah, how does that work?
What does that mean? You saved my marriage.
Yeah, like, okay.
I don't really get it. I was gonna have an affair, but now I'm too scared.
Yeah, I guess that's what that means.
Ugh, you.
Scared into being faithful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would totally fuck that woman from work, but what if she wants to see me again? What will I do then? I guess I'd have to murder her, and I don't want to do that, so I just won't.
Okay, so I have a couple of people that were.
Okay.
John Carpenter and Brian De Palma.
Oh, wow. Brian De Palma passed on this. That is so fucking telling.
Let's see, they
This
both
movie was
backed out. They feared it was too similar to Play Misty for me.
Mm.
Oh, this is good. De Palma also felt that Michael Douglas was not a good leading man.
Oh, correct.
Wow, very interesting. And then Carpenter also turned it down because he felt the audience would not accept the originally scripted downbeat ending. So he was right about that.
Yeah.
John Borman was also offered the director's job. I don't know who that is. Turned it down to do Hope and Glory.
Ew.
I don't know who's good. Oh, Deliverance.
All right, well, lunchtime poll.
So this is what's called a lunchtime poll.
The lunchtime poll question is, talk about an ex who acted like you were crazy.
I gotta think about that. Let me go second.
Okay.
Or not first, whatever.
I can go first. I've definitely had like a number of exes just act like I was being very unreasonable. But one in particular, like this boyfriend I had in college, it was like my first kind of long-term boyfriend really, was always acting like I was so needy. But he was the one who called me all the time. And if I called him ever, he would be like, God, I'm busy. We don't have to see each other every day. But like mostly he'd call me and then he'd be like, I'm going to this party this weekend. You're not invited. It's just for whatever, theater people. And I'd be like, okay, well, I'll do something else. And he'd be like, God, you sound like you're going to be sad now. Like he would always just be like accusing me of being very needy and controlling when I would literally doing everything I could to be cool and chill about everything.
Yeah.
And then I found out after we broke up that like whenever he'd go to these parties without me, he'd just like fuck someone else.
Ew.
So like that was why he was like, you don't have to be everywhere with me all the time. It's like he wouldn't have been able to do that otherwise. But he was always like, I have letters from him still where he'd be like, I just feel like we need to take some time apart because I just can't be what you want me to be. I can't like live up to your expectations. And I'd be like, dude, I just want to hang out and have sex. Like, what are you talking about? Like, what expectations? And that was fun. I definitely did not see that shit clearly until after the fact.
I've definitely dated people who always talk about their ex-girlfriend like she was crazy or something. And it was just like, that became such a red flag for me. Like, what are you talking about, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely had dating somebody that is like, you're just too sensitive. Like,
yes.
I've gotten that a lot. And I'm just like, well, I am a sensitive person, but why are you so insensitive? You know,
right.
Like, that's definitely one that I've gotten a lot.
I don't know that I have someone that like really acted like I was crazy, but a thing that this made me think of is, this is more like mansplaining than anything, but the really awful guy I dated very briefly, like I was really young. The guy was 19 and he was 32, the guy that didn't let me leave his place that time.
Yeah.
Like one time, like, this is just how much sometimes a man thinks he knows something, is that like one time we were having sex and he like bought these different kind of condoms that were kind of weird. I think they were called like Rough Riders, and it wasn't ribbed, but it was textured in some way. There was nothing wrong with it, you know, but then after he said something like, oh, like you're supposed to be able to feel that. And I was like, yeah, I could. Like I could definitely feel that it was different. And he was like, no, you can't.
Telling me what I feel.
I know. Like, he was like, he did not believe me that I could feel the difference in this thing that's like textured for that reason. Like,
oh my God, that's so weird.
It was so weird. Also, I mean, when I think about it, I'm like, that was like a barely used vagina, you know?
Yeah.
19 years old.
Oh my God. He's like, I have a vagina and I know that you cannot feel it.
Like, why did you even ask, too?
I know.
Yeah. Oh, guys are so weird.
How very.
Whew. Well, that's a fun one.
Greetings and salutations.
I wanted to shout out to Connecticut this week because that's where Glenn Close is from. Hello, Connecticut.
Did you watch Damages?
No.
Glenn Close is so good in that. Rose Byrne is like a young lawyer who joins Glenn Close's firm, and like there's a lot of crazy corruption, and Glenn Close is this like power suit, like flawless. I really like that character a lot. Rose Byrne is new to like being a lawyer and kind of like finding out how dirty this firm is and like how corrupt everything is. Yeah, it's like an anti-hero thing that stars Glenn Close, but I just really like it.
That sounds kind of fun, yeah.
She's a good villain, but like a badass villain, I don't know.
Yeah.
And she's flawless, like her outfits, and I don't know, I just like it.
Yeah. She is a good villain, Glenn Close in general. Like, I mean, she's a great Cruella de Vil, right? But she's just not a villain in this movie. I will not believe that Alex is a villain.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Do y'all know anybody in Connecticut?
I don't think I know anyone that lives there now. No.
My mom was born there in Hartford.
Oh.
And grew up there, kind of.
My cousin Vicky went to UConn, and she's obsessed with UConn women's sports. They have a great basketball team. I think Sue Bird went there.
Ooh.
A lot of really good basketball players.
Nice.
I had a friend who went to college there. I mean, I know lots of people went to college there, but like Fairfield or something.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
She was there at the same time John Mayer was there. He was like the most annoying person. And he was going to be the next Dave Matthews.
Oh my God, he totally was.
Right, but then like after he got famous, like she read an interview with him where he was like complaining about people comparing him to Dave Matthews. That's exactly what you wanted, John Mayer.
Oh, that's funny. I love that kind of insider shit.
And Mystic Pizza, I guess. It's Connecticut.
Mystic, Connecticut. Yeah.
It's supposed to be good pizza.
Oh, it really is.
I guess.
I don't know. I used to stop in there, like when I lived in Boston, we would like go down to New York like once a month or so and just stop in New Haven on the way home. It was cute. New Haven's a nice town.
Martha Stewart, she lives there, I think, right?
Oh, does she?
She has houses, I feel like, all over New England. Like, she's got a Martha's Vineyard place. She, like, has a place on an island in the San Juans.
She does?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think nobody knows, or she hasn't said which island it is or whatever. Oh. But, like, it's one of the ones where you have to take a boat to it, like a special boat.
Like there's not a ferry.
You're right, exactly. On the next episode of Paid in Puke, we're heading into the shimmer with Alex Garland's 2018 existential sci-fi horror film, Annihilation, starring Natalie Portman, Jennifer Jason Leigh, Tessa Thompson, Gina Rodriguez, and Tuva Novotny. If you enjoyed this episode of Paid in Puke, please take a minute to rate us highly on your preferred podcast listening apparatus. If you did not enjoy this episode, no further action is necessary. Paid in Puke is hosted by Annie Malone, Christina Barr, and Jessica Baxter. Music by Silent Partner. Follow us on Twitter at PaidInPukePod, on Instagram at PaidInPukeSeattle, and on Facebook at Paid in Puke Podcast. Thanks for listening.
Lick it up, baby. Lick it